Bless God. Yeah. Yeah. Bless you, God. Oh, mighty, mighty.
1991 to 2023, that's going on 32 years.
Mighty
Because it
God.
was November and we're in March, it's about 6 months or so. So almost 32 years now I've known Sister Hardaway. Apostle was here in Alabama at the time. And the rest of the family, we came from Jamaica in November 1991, came to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And Apostle had a car lot in the city of Tuscaloosa at the time. And I went and worked there with him for a little while. But anyway, the person that was helping Apostle run the business as the secretary was Sister Lenora Hardaway. That's what I know. And she was helping with the paperwork and bookwork. All the work is right. Sister Hardaway and I'm not going to get off into this now because I need to preach the word. And I can't just give testimony the whole time. But Sister Hardaway and I used to go out and repossess cars for folks who didn't pay.
Oh, God.
Is that right, Sister Hardaway? I'm not going to do it tonight, but we have some stories. And one time we went to, was it Greensboro or Utah, where the fellow had the gun? Let's we're going to leave. We can't get into that tonight. We probably should talk about Amos.
Glory to God. My God. Jesus.
But I can say something else before I talk about Amos, can't I?
Oh, you can.
Yes.
Brother, this gentleman right here, I know some of you all don't know him really well, but I pray that you get to know him.
Bless God.
I know he's not the tallest man you've ever met in the world, and he doesn't claim to be either. But he is a giant of a man. Faithful man of God that loves God.
Faithful.
Come on. So true. So true.
I'm preaching right now.
Yes.
Glory to God.
Glory to God.
Thank you, Jesus.
I was in graduate school at the University of Alabama. And I was working in Vance and working as a teaching assistant, graduate teaching assistant at the University of Alabama, teaching some electrical courses and covering some labs in electrical engineering. And I was working at this other company. So I was studying, working there, and running off campus to another job. And it was just kind of wearing on me. So I talked to them at the university to ask for greater support because they were paying a portion of my tuition and then giving me a monthly stipend. And I asked them to, change it to another level where they would pay all my tuition and give me a larger stipend per month. And they said, Clifton, some graduate students are not getting any kind of support from the university. And they were trying to say, man, be happy with what you got. Well, it sounded reasonable to me, though I didn't like it, and I left it alone. But one night we were in Anniston in service.
Yes.
Apostle, do you remember this? He was ministering, and he called me out of the congregation. Maybe I was on the, probably I was on the organ playing over by the window up there. And he called me and he said, there is something at the university that they don't want to do for you.
But they're going to have to.
He says, God says they're going to have to do it.
Let's go.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That was on a Saturday night. So you go Sunday through that week, then the following week, Tuesday morning, the head of the electrical engineering department at the University of Alabama, a gentleman named Dr. Pimmel, called the house. And he spoke to Apostle. Apostle answered the phone, and he asked to speak to Clifton. I got on the phone, and he said, Clifton, remember the thing I told you couldn't happen? He said, it's happening right now. We decided to change it, to pay all your tuition, raise your monthly stipend, and you can come down. And can you come down to sign the paperwork? Can I come down to sign it? I can come down to sign it. God bless you, Pastor.
Bless God. Almighty, almighty, almighty.
I said that to say, Apostle is a great man of God that God has been using for many years. Time would fail us to share with you things that God has used him to do, but I share with the saints, to me, it's not so much the great miracles that God has used this man of God to do. As a son, his youngest of 3 sons, the thing that I admire most is his commitment to God.
Yes, God.
Because when we were in Jamaica, he was here, and for 17 and a half years, we lived apart. During that time, my mom came and visited Alabama once during that 17 and a half years to visit with my dad. But we grew up apart. And during that time, he held closer to God while things were rough.
Yes.
One time he had to live in the church, preaching to folk, laying hands on folks, and they go home and say, God bless you, Pastor. And he's getting off someplace on the bench. And he held on to his integrity.
Yes.
The women, they would travel different places with Apostle Gary, Indiana, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and folk places like that. And they said sometimes he was traveling and he would fall asleep. And if his hands fell and happened to brush them on their thigh or something, he would catch himself and say, hey, excuse me, I'm sorry. Leaving no room or space for someone to say that he's trying to make a pass or something like that. And as a son, I respect and I honor that, and I thank God that he was a man that was faithful not just to God but also to my mom while we were in Jamaica.
Yes.
Let me give God praise.
Holy God.
Some will speak in tongues and they will have different women.
Yeah.
You never heard about that.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
God bless you, Apostle. Thank God for you. Thank God for you. I want to say this walk with God is real, brethren. This is not a joke we're making. This is a life commitment.
Let's go.
How many of you plan to go with the Lord all the way?
God.
You sign up to be with the Lord for the rest of your life.
Rest of my life.
You're not just going through a phase. Let's see what church is all about. I'm not going to shout. Hallelujah.
Hey!
But like the songwriter says, I have made my choice forever. I will walk with Christ, my Lord. Not from him, my soul shall sever. Y'all know it. Oh man, y'all know it. All right, come on. Let's yes. All right. So our text tonight comes from Amos. Amos here is what we consider a minor prophet. And as you know, the prophetic books of the Bible are split into major or minor in terms of studying the Word of God. The major ones are not more important or major in terms of the meaning of their prophetic utterances simply that their books are longer.
Oh, yes, sir.
Amos was this prophet of God that God raised up, and we're going to be talking about this theme, chosen for divine purpose.
All right.
And I want to say this, that we were all created by God on purpose. Now, listen to this. I don't know the circumstances behind your mom and dad getting together and you being here, because that's wide and varied. Am I right?
Amen.
Some parents were married and they had the children in wedlock. Some were not married and the children came. Some were having fun, didn't have planned to get pregnant, and the baby came anyway. And there are just a whole bunch of circumstances. But either way, we are here.
Amen.
And while we are here, God, He knew that we would get here. And He then determined that there was a plan, God, for each one of our lives, since He knew that we would get here. So that we are all created by God with a purpose. Pastor Peters, as she shared her exhortation or expression, she was using this word that really lies at the heart of the word purpose. It's the word intention. Purpose is all about intention. Excuse me. It's that which was intended. So when I create something, like when the manufacturer created this, there was an intended purpose. So what is it for? It was when he was creating it, what was his intent? What did he think and plan for it to be used for? To hold the microphone, right? So we